Welcome to the Just Josh podcast.
Who the fuck is this guy? Hey, who the fuck are you? Huh? Who the fuck are you?
This whole thing's a little weird.
Never yet fear, laddie buck.
Jake, what's going on, buddy?
Yo, what's up, Josh? How's it going?
Good, man. Thank you for coming back onto the podcast. I really appreciate it because I know everyone's time's valuable these days.
Yeah, man. I'm stoked. How you been?
Good. Yeah, good, man. For those out there that don't know, I had Jake on earlier. He probably would have been on season 2 at the beginning at some point. But me being the goof that I am, I was like doing maintenance and stuff and trying to organize everything and split up, you know, my podcast stuff from like music stuff and then from work stuff and management stuff. So I partitioned my hard drive thinking it just splits it up. It doesn't actually delete and then divide. And so, yeah, it deleted everything. And I tried everything. You think with technology now we'd be able to like get my files back, but no. So,
bring it back.
Yeah, but no, it didn't. It did not work out. So I had such a fun time talking to you the last time because you're one of my favorite people. You know,
Thank you.
Yeah, I started this podcast because not about getting the biggest guest or the name person per se. You know, I really just wanted to get my friends and people that work hard and people that I respect and I think are good people, you know, number one. And you've been doing this Rockstead thing for a while now, actually. Probably, I guess, in this form is Rockstead the last 5 years at least, if not longer.
Yeah. I mean, Rockstead is a professional project, if you want to say it like that. Yeah, it's probably been about 5 years. You know, the roots definitely go a lot farther back, but
right.
In a sense of, you know, playing original music and recording stuff and putting it out there for people. Yeah. Probably about 5 years.
And what I like about you is that in the scene, or at least in the reggae scene, you know, it's very, you know, the original roots of it go back to Jamaica and stuff. But there's a lot of that American reggae out there. What I love about your band is that you guys kind of have that rock aspect along with the reggae. And I know there's a lot of rock reggae bands out there, but to me, it tends to lean, even though you have the reggae styles in there, I almost view you as a rock band to a degree, you know?
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, me personally and the original members and even some of the members now just have such a hard, like, rock metal background. I mean, we grew up listening to that kind of music. That's the shit that gets us off, dude. Like the mosh pits and like throwing elbows and just like the angst of like, you know, this punk and rock music. And you know, reggae is awesome in its own aspect, but, you know, the fact that, I mean, I guess it has been a lot of American bands have been able to fuse those together has been cool with this like reggae rock thing. But yeah, it is a crazy combination because, you know, a lot of this like heavy rock music is super aggressive and it, you know, it talks about like being pissed off and like it can be angry music, and whereas reggae has such an uplifting and positive message, or it's, you know, messages about like oppression and politics and things like that, but then again, maybe that's the gap, is oppression and politics, because you know, that shit can piss you off. So it's like there's the rock reggae gap bridge, but yeah, we definitely lean more towards the rock, and I think a lot of that just has to do with the music that we grew up listening to and just the energy that a rock show can bring. And, you know, being able to balance that out though with the reggae, I think is cool. And I think that's something we've taken pride in over the years, is just kind of having this different flux of vibe that we can offer during a live show. So
Yeah, and I think that it's funny because I met a lot of people in the scene, in the reggae scene, that are really into metal, but they play reggae. which I think is funny. But then just to your point, I don't think they're that far off. Yeah, the styles are very different. Yeah, but as far as like what they actually started as, I think real roots Jamaican reggae was political, and it was standing up for your rights and doing different things, a lot of, or even that kind of punk mentality to a degree, like fuck authority and stuff like that. So in a way, they really are very similar.
Some of my, like, just to name a few, like, bands that I was listening to a lot growing up, like Rise Against was I followed them since like their inception, and I was young. I was probably like 7th grade or something when I first started listening to them, and very political band, like very much about singing about the times and the issues that we're dealing with. And like you said, roots Jamaican music, I mean, going back to like early Bob Marley and Third World and stuff like that, it's all about this, like, political oppression that they had to deal with there in Jamaica. So yeah, definitely political punk music and reggae music, there's a bridge there.
Yeah. And then I think the first time I listened to punk music, or some of my earlier ones, even before I got super into Green Day, like in '94 and stuff, I was probably only like 10, but I love them. And I probably wasn't young enough to understand the adult aspects of the music, but I just remember the energy, seeing Green Day was up. But the first time I actually heard real punk music was Operation Ivy. I was at a soccer camp, and I met this one dude, and we ended up hanging out again after. He might have lived in Virginia or something, but I went down there and we were kicking the ball around. And he just starts playing his little CD player. It might have even been a tape player, to be honest with you.
Hell
He
yeah.
might have had it on a tape player. In fact, if you could, if you're ever in the area or swinging through, obviously stop in and hang out. But I have, from like Christmas, from when I was super young, I still have a CD player over there. It's a 51 disc CD player, and it still has 2 tape players on it too. And I remember listening to the radio and like pressing play and record, to try and listen to the song on 99.1 or the local station and stuff like that. But that technology still works, man. It still hooks up to my TV right now, my main monitor that I have up here. For the
I had a Walkman.
Okay, yeah. I think when most people do, but it is weird now that we're at the age where, like, even though we're young, there's still kids that have never, like, don't even have a clue, and even about some CDs, like CDs are kind of like they know them, but probably more on the video game aspect, less of the music side of things.
Yeah, totally.
For like the young kids. So yeah, I always feel, I definitely feel old. That's one of the things. You're trying to stay current and trying to stay what's in touch with kids and what, trying to get into the psyche of kids, what they watch and what they do, because I think it's important, as a musician or as a manager, or as anyone that's trying to get their stuff out there in distribution has to kind of try and see trends and use business analytics, which is what I got my degree in.
It's all internet stuff, man. I feel like it's, the idea of a physical music listening thing, I think, is like a thing of the past. Everything's digital these days, and
yeah,
it's like about the right website or the right app to like link in with. I feel like,
but that's why I think humans, maybe in general, they have that like instantaneous gratification problem to a degree. Like we all have that, but I remember the excitement of being young and knowing that the album was coming out, and then going to my local record store, even if it was like, FYE or any of those big branch ones. And even for a while, Best Buy and stuff had music, but even they're getting rid of music and stuff like that. It's just pointless.
Yeah.
I'll see a small section, but I don't even know why they even have that anymore.
Dude. Yeah, I used to always stop at FYE if I would go to the mall, and like I would just, because the CDs were labeled by genre, in sections, and like I would just go to like whatever section, whether it be like metal or like punk or whatever, and I would just, sometimes I would buy a CD based off of what the cover looked like. Like I would make it a point to like pick a CD that had a cool cover of a band that I had never seen before, and I would just buy the CD because they had a cool CD cover. And like sometimes that's how I would discover music, you know?
Yeah.
But nowadays, I guess they have Spotify makes playlists for you for music that you've never heard before.
It's
I
just,
don't know. Takes a little fun out of it.
Yeah, I just get so frustrated though. But I guess to this point real quick, and then I'll talk about that, is just the fun of getting the excitement and going and getting that physical copy and then taking off the wrapper. And sometimes like if you tried to open it, I would always, I don't know if you did this, I would get lazy instead of just trying to rip open the thing or do it properly with like a knife. I would literally just try and like open it with the wrapping still on and get it and then like break it. And then sometimes I'd break the case, you know, but,
Yeah.
but I was just too impatient to actually do it right. And then I miss like actually opening it up and seeing the lyrics and
I was
seeing
about
the
to
different,
say,
like pictures. You don't get that with Spotify. Like,
yeah, like the booklets, dude. All right, quick story. One of the coolest CD case things, like instances that I had was I listened to System of a Down, and they had their back-to-back albums, Hypnotized and Mesmerized.
mm-hmm.
And both of those albums had similar art concepts. And if you bought both of the CDs, you could slide them together. They would connect and create an entire mural, like
That's dope.
that combined both CD arts if you opened it up and connected them. And it was just like, it was like a little CD puzzle. And I was just like, what? Like, you don't get that shit on Spotify, man.
Don't.
Like, so that was, you know, but yes, the lyrics, like I would, if I would get a new CD, I would put it in and I would, you know, flip that book open and I would like read along with every song. And like,
mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just like how I learned so many like songs,
Yeah.
you know, and sing along, man. Those days are gone, unfortunately, but
yeah,
that was good shit.
Yeah, it was much easier to learn the songs when you had the lyrics. Now, I guess you could look up anything, but half the time they're wrong on the internet nowadays.
Yeah, they are wrong on the internet.
So
like even classics, it'll be like,
they'll be wrong. Yeah,
Bob Marley, Stir It Up, and it'll be like, I don't know,
wrong.
Steer the Cup, and I'm like, what? Who fucking wrote this?
So your band with Rockstead and stuff like that, you guys have a new album coming up, correct?
Well, we just released one in whatever month that was, September.
Okay, so it came out.
Yeah.
You're in Control?
Yes, sir.
And you had 3 singles off of it already, right?
Yeah, we had 3 singles. Mm-hmm.
And then, your latest one is Dance Jam?
Yeah. Dance Jam was the last single that we released. We had Costa Rica, Distractions, and then Dance Jam.
Now, is this album from stuff that you've done over kind of the COVID period this last year, or was this from before then that you're finally being able to release kind of now?
It was actually before then. We had started recording last year in 2019, but then about halfway through the recording process, we lost our guitar player, and so we're kind of in this like limbo where it's like, all right, we need to find a guitar player so we can keep playing shows,
right?
But also we like have half an album done, you know, and so there was like a few months where we kind of had to stop on the album just to focus on getting our other shit together, but yeah, it all ended up working out, and you know, we finished that album probably, you know, very early in 2020, and then through the summer we were just like starting to gear up to release properly. We teamed up with Blue Avenue Music Group on that release, and so you know,
Stephanie, right?
Yeah, Stephanie and Jenny, yep. And they helped us, you know, with the single releases in the album, and yeah, so it felt good to release that album because it had, you know, kind of been sitting for a while. Mm-hmm. But it's funny because, like, you know, we released this album and immediately we're just like, okay, now here's all these other songs that we've been writing that entire time. Like,
right,
we're ready to go for another one, you know.
Yeah, and then also just being able to promote it and play shows and stuff. You finally have get to put it out, and then COVID hits, and you're like, can't even play it live. I can't even play it for people.
Yeah, we had to do we had a live stream for our album release, which, you know, thankful we were able to do that. But, you know, usually your album release shows are bangers, and here we are like playing to a camera, you know. It was like a little depressing, but also, you know, it's like we were still pretty stoked to get that out there, because this album, You're in Control, was really like our first studio album. I mean, we had some releases prior to that, but we were like recording those in barns and living rooms, and, you know, we were young, and we
Nothing
were
wrong with barns, though. I would love to have a studio.
No, I mean, I wouldn't call it a studio. It was more like a barn with a couple
literal barn.
yeah, but yeah. So it felt good. It felt good to have like a, you know, a studio, well-produced album that really kind of you know, exemplify what we were about. So,
but besides music, I think I guess it's kind of music. You're like a music teacher as well, huh?
Yeah, so I started teaching at a school here in Asheville. It's called French Broad River Academy. There's a boys and a girls school, but I teach over at the girls school. And yeah, I started doing that, I guess it was beginning of this year, like pre-COVID. And then, you know, that school year ended, and they picked me back up. But
have you been doing stuff over Zoom, I assume, now? Or are you guys back in school? It's a private school, I assume, if it has boys and girls, right?
Yeah, it is a private school.
So they can do whatever they want.
They can do whatever they want. They have kind of like a rotating schedule where you know, they're in class for a couple weeks, and then they have like a remote week, and they're a pretty outdoor intensive school. They focus on like whitewater paddling and stuff like that.
Oh,
so
dude, that's dope.
Yeah, so
you fit right in.
Yeah, so they go like whitewater canoeing and things like that, and but it's been super cool, man. Like I've never I mean, I've given some private lessons here and there, you know, over the years, but I've never been like a full-blown teacher. So it's been a learning experience, but it's been good.
I've always wanted to teach just because I love kids, and I really do think it's important to, you know, give back, but but mentor. You know, that's the reason we have so many fucked up adults, is because people didn't take the time to say, "Hey, I believe in you," or "Hey, you know, you can do this," or "Hey, you know," whatever the case is. And I think that's, you know, if I ever get the company to a point where we have the money like that, I would certainly love to invest in and just not invest and not just give money, but actually participate and do more things for youth and really try and help people. Because anyone can sign a check, but I actually think giving your time and then actually, you know, one-on-one with the kids is something I'd be more interested in. But I have Chris Montague from Article Sound System coming on Monday, and him and his wife had their own kind of school, almost like a school of rock, but, you know, like guitar lessons and different things like that. And with COVID, I think they had to kind of shut it down for a little bit and then offer like online and stuff like that. But I think that's really cool that a lot of musicians, now he kind of already done that, you know, along with Article, but I think that's cool that musicians can give their time, and they are, and especially with COVID, that people have been able to find things that they can do to, you know, stay in music, but still kind of stay afloat as well and give back. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been fun, man. I mean, I up until this point, I'd really never had a whole lot of experience with kids, you know, and like,
are there some horrible ones, man, or are they all pretty well behaved?
You know, they're all actually pretty well behaved. Like, and that's like was one of my biggest worries, was going in here and just like having to deal with children in like the broad sense.
Children, small humans.
But middle school, and like these girls were like, I don't know, they were just way more mature than I expected and way more easy to deal with, and it's been fun. It's been fun. And just the whole like we do kind of a rock band thing where it's like groups of 5 or 6 girls. You got drums, bass, guitars, keys, vocals, and they just rock out songs. So it's been cool. It's been
That's
cool.
awesome. While you were saying that, the computer froze, I think, or something froze. But then I saw it catch up. Like it went. So I'm hoping that it just recorded it normal. And that's why I kept my mouth shut and I didn't say anything, because maybe when it records, it'll have everything you just said perfectly, and then I won't even have to edit it. But yeah,
Great.
no, that's really cool, man. I think again, I've always wanted to be a teacher, but like you said, I'm a single. I'm 36 and single. Like I'm an uncle. I have 2 great nephews who I love. I adore them. But I like the fact that, I can have my fun with them and then I can give them back to my sister.
Totally. Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at, dude.
So I don't know. I would love to teach or do something like that, but I just don't know. I don't know if I would be cut out for that, But I think that's why I got into management, because I really enjoy that aspect of it, of the just saying, trying to be that encouraging person, the backbone type of a deal.
Totally.
But oh man, I shouldn't have. You know what? So do you remember Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Yes.
Watching that, how great was that when you were growing up? Like I know it. Like
it's good stuff. It was even like, it was probably like a little bit before my time, but
right.
I watched those reruns. Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Like a lot of that's. I mean, even Seinfeld and some of that. Like, yeah, I was alive when they were filming it, and it was on TV, but it was probably a couple years and all the reruns and stuff that, when you're younger, you kind of see it more. So I thought they were actually doing a show. So I thought they might have done like a season or maybe like 5 episodes, but it was just a reunion where they got back together and kind of talked. I didn't realize, looking back at it, like I remember it was a great show, but then now looking back with everything that's gone on with COVID and stuff like that too, I didn't realize how kind of groundbreaking it was. And I didn't realize there was all that drama behind the scenes too, of the one aunt leaving and then them replacing her and stuff like that. You kind of see the behind the scene things. But it got really sad because they had the reunion with the aunt and Will Smith, and they've been talking shit about each other for like years, and
now it's like kiss and make it.
Yeah, it's weird. Well, I guess the whole thing with that was that he was only like 21 or 22 when they were filming that stuff, so he was super young still. And I guess she was pregnant and then going through a really bad marriage at the time. And like not everyone knew that, or no one knew that on set, because it's a private thing. It's not like you're just going to throw that stuff out there. So she kind of came despondent or something. And then I guess Will Smith like wanted her fired. And then they were saying how she was difficult to work with. And the thing that stuck out to me though, and it's weird because, I'm Asian, you're white. It's not like we can necessarily speak firsthand about this stuff. But just because I'm not black doesn't mean I don't understand or I can't sympathize. And when she said this, it clicked with me. And she was like, do you know how hard it was to find a job after that? Being a black woman, being labeled as difficult, a black woman who's difficult to work with. And I was like, oh man, I didn't even think about that. And I don't even think Will Smith thought about that either. Like even realized, he basically screwed her career like going forward, and it was harder to find jobs because she was known as someone that was difficult to work with. And then also being African American, I'm sure that, you'd like to think it doesn't have an effect on it, but I'm sure it does. I'm sure it did, but that was really cool, dude. There was a lot of laughters, but then also the actor James, I'm blanking on his last name, but the guy that played the father who had passed away, I think he was like 2013 or something like that. He passed away, but yeah, that was such a great show. But I watched it and I'm like getting teary eyed and I'm like, like reminiscing and doing stuff like that. Do you find yourself doing that now that you're getting older? That whole thing led into this. Do you find yourself like, I saw an aggro crag on eBay, an original aggro crag from Guts that lit up and everything. It was like the guy won it on the show. And I almost spent like $1,500 just to buy that stupid thing. Do you ever find yourself doing that now you're getting a little older, seeing the nostalgia stuff come back?
Oh, all the time, man. I mean, honestly, for me, it happens more like with music. Like just yesterday, I was I found this like 2000s pop punk playlist on Spotify, man, and it was just like Taking Back Sunday, you know, like Mayday Parade, Reliant K, like all these just like old pop punk bands, and it just like immediately brought me back, you know. And but yeah, it's like a lot of music and like some TV shows. Like I saw some memes floating around the other day that were going off of Drake and Josh, dude. I used to watch that show all the time, dude, and like I'm just like, damn, like gone are the days of being like 12 and coming home from school and sitting on the couch and watching like 5 episodes of something, you know. Like I don't know. Yeah, I'm definitely reaching that point where it's like, damn. And also just like throwing references out there and like younger people, and even not like kids. I'm talking about like, you know, 21-year-olds not knowing what I'm talking about. And I'm just like, damn. I guess I'm getting kind of old. Like, just take another sip of my beer.
That's and we're not, though. That's the funny thing. But that kind of puts in perspective of how not long ago certain things are.
Yeah. Well,
you
and
know,
also
or how, you know,
how quickly culture changes these days too, you know. It's
like
I mean, you can always, you know, usually it's been kind of like decade by decade you've been able to label things, but I mean every like 3 years things are changing massively, you know. And
crazy.
It's crazy. It kind of goes back to what you were saying too with like the attention span of people, and just like they need something new like all the time because we're paying attention so much too with like a computer in our pocket. So
over the summer, I know with COVID, you did whitewater rafting, which is interesting because I know for a while things were shut down. So was this something that when it was open, or had it been open the whole time?
No, I think they started up probably about halfway through the summer. But it was like you know, it was dubbed an outdoor recreation thing, and so
right.
I mean, there's definitely a lot of like COVID precautionary stuff, you know.
How do they wear that? They can't wear masks. You can't really wear masks because then you're just going to get it wet, right?
Yeah, they don't wear masks, but you know, it's kind of more like one group per boat kind of thing. So you have like your family
right
in the boat and things like that. But yeah, I started whitewater raft guiding. My girlfriend, she's been doing it for years. And you know, I wasn't touring this summer. Usually I'm on the road a lot, and I had all this free time, and they were looking for people. And you know, I had worked at a paddle business in Ohio for like years, like 7 or 8 years. I worked at this like canoe kayak place in Ohio. And you know, I had been on whitewater trips with my parents, and you know, I was in Boy Scouts back in the day, and we would been on whitewater trips. And the staff members of that business that I worked at, Morgan's Canoe, shout out. But we used to take staff trips over to West Virginia and do some whitewater paddling, and so I kind of knew what it was all about. And she hooked me up with a job, and yeah, it was pretty awesome actually. You know, I just got to be outside all the time and met some cool people, and you know, it's fun, man. I don't know if you've ever been, but you know, I'm kind of an adrenaline junkie a little bit. Like I need some of that in my life, like every now and then, to kind of keep me going. And
I'll be honest, when I was younger, I was definitely an adrenaline junkie. Now, nah, not so much. Like people are like, dude, I'd love to go skydive. I'm like, it's not that I'm afraid. It has nothing to do with being afraid. It's just I don't want to die. and I know there's a slim chance of dying, but all it takes is one bad parachute or one bad cord or bungee jumping. I would rather skydive than bungee jump if I had to do the other one, because at least if I'm skydiving, I know I'm gonna die. But bungee jumping, I could be like paralyzed for life and then have to live like a vegetable, and I just don't deal with that.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's so cool. And I have been whitewater rafting, probably nothing crazy, you know, a family style type of thing when I was younger. My parents like to do that. They've done that a lot. And I just think it's the coolest job to be able to do some sort of nature be a nature guide. I think Nick Thompson from Hit the Lights, I had him on, and he was doing tour guiding and canoes and stuff like that over the summer as well. So I think that's a pretty cool job to have, like a really kind of best of both worlds of, you could even, you know what you should have? You should get one of those like waterproof speakers and just jam Rockstead the whole time.
Yeah, well,
Out there.
we go. Well, I have some friends with like their own rafts and things like that, and it's funny actually. The past few days or the past few trips that we've went on, we call it Reggae Day because we have this speaker, and I just like throw on this like reggae playlist with all this music on there, and it turns into like Reggae Raft Day, and I'm like, everybody keeps calling it Reggae Day. And in my mind, I'm just like, well, this is kind of what I listen to every day. So, yeah. But anyway, I'll take Reggae Day. Hell yeah.
I wonder what metal day is like. You should do a metal day, but make it only when there's like old people on the raft or like people
Right.
who wouldn't be into metal and be like, today's metal day. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's the luck of the draw.
Day. Oh, dude, that'd be funny. Actually, funny story. So, I went with some of my friends on this like rafting trip to West Virginia. We went out on the New River, and like my buddy had his own raft, so it was like not a commercial trip. Like we just, loaded up the raft with our camping gear and like went and paddled. And there was a day where we were paddling, and like we were out there having fun, things like that, and we were blasting music, and we were coming up on this rapid, and this song came on. Lettuce, the band Lettuce?
Yes.
They have this song called Mount Crushmore. I don't know if you've ever heard it, but it's just like very epic and like these big horns and like it came on, and my friend, she was like immediately kind of like, God, I feel like I'm in Indiana Jones right now. And we're coming up on this rapid.
What was the song called again?
Mount Crushmore.
Oh, that's
yeah. And like we were coming up on this rapid, and just this intense music was playing. Yeah, pull it up. And we were just like freaking out.
Verizon 5G is here.
Yeah, we were just like freaking out because we like this intense music was playing, and we thought this rapid was going to be like crazy, like huge, and we're like pulling over to the side of the river to like strap things down, and we're looking like freaks on the side of the river because this song is basically like hyping us up. And then we see like two like little kids in kayaks like paddle by and go through the rapid, and we're just like we're like, oh, like it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mount Rushmore, dude. This song.
I always see the problem is that it doesn't let me adjust the volume because I wanted to play the music while you were explaining it, but I'll post edit it so it's like over it. But yeah.
Good shit.
Was this it?
Oh yeah.
Okay. And then the two kids just go by. Well, later on.
And we're just like, oh my God, like this rapid's gonna be crazy. And then just these kids paddle by, and they're just like, hi. It does kind of sound like Indiana Jones, though.
Is the whole band on the thing? There's that many people?
Oh, yeah. They have like 8 or 9 people in their band.
Like, I couldn't name the song. I've heard of that. But yeah, no, that was, you guys were jamming to this and going down the river, and then kids paddle by. That's so funny.
It was hilarious.
It's my guilty pleasure, and it's almost embarrassing to talk about, but not. Like, I really don't give a fuck. And I'll talk about it anyway, because I don't care. But when you were younger, were you into wrestling at all? Because it was more of a pop culture thing.
Honestly, not really. Like, I think I had like a PlayStation game. I was like a WWE wrestling, but I didn't really watch it a whole lot growing up.
I think
I had a lot of friends that did.
So I think it was just, I was super young when I was into it. So it wasn't like I was into it in high school, and even in middle school, I had probably already gotten over, watching it. But I didn't watch it for like 15, 20 years. Like, didn't even pay attention, had no clue what was going on. And then it was randomly on. and I got sucked back into it because I didn't realize, one, back when I was watching, it was very like cheesy and storytelling, but when you're that young, that's what the exaggerated things, and that's what like draws you in. And back then it was still before a lot of, the media and the different things where they still played it off as kayfabe as being real. Like, even though you knew it wasn't real, even then, they didn't make, now, it's more, but I've noticed over the years and just getting into it. And the reason I'm so into it again is it's changed so much, and it's less about the storylines. Like, they still have them, don't get me wrong, because I think Vince McMahon does a lot of the creative and has like final say. So there's still a lot of those like really bad angles. Like, a lot of TV shows sometimes they have bad storylines, or sometimes shows don't end the way you want them to. That's just part of writing. But I think I got back into it because I got back into the wrestlers as people, not as their characters. And so with social media, which we didn't necessarily have when I was younger, I follow a lot of them and I see how hard they work. And then you also see that behind the scenes, the people that actually get the belts. Now, a lot of it does have to do with storyline, but some of the other belts, like the Intercontinental or something like that, actually goes to the person that's like working really hard in the company. If they're like making all their shows and they're being a good, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Then you kind of get invested into them. And so that's what I've gotten. But also the wrestling's gotten better. People are more athletic. It's not like fat old dudes in tights anymore. It's more, and we had The Rock and Stone Cold, and he's gone on to movies and stuff like that. But, and then the females, they're doing like backflips off the top rope, and it's just crazy the stuff that they do. And then, so again, I get really invested in less of the cheesiness of it and more of the athletic aspects of it. And they moved over to Fox too. So Fox, being known for sports, they kind of turned that into like the wrestling brand, and then they kept the Monday Night Raw, where it's kind of like the cheesy storylines. So they have a lot of the athletes and the other things over on SmackDown, which is on Fox now, and they're like integrating the wrestlers and other things. But Sasha Banks, one of the wrestlers, she's do you watch The Mandalorian?
No.
Oh, sorry. I don't mean to say that.
Man. I'm out of the loop.
It's the Star Wars series with Baby Yoda.
Yeah. I'm familiar with it, but
I just got this puppy right here, which is like the big Mandalorian Funko Pop, and he's carrying the Baby Yoda. I've never owned a Funko Pop in my life. Never had the inkling or want to own one. And I saw this, and it had like the shiny helmet on and shit. I was like, oh yeah,
it's mine.
Yeah. But with wrestling, I got this sucker, right? And I thought it was just a little table, like a mini one or like a kid size, because it said it had like plastic rivets, and it wasn't that expensive. Like it normally was, but it was like half the price. So I was like, all right, yeah, I'll get it. Whatever. It'll be in this ornament. Dude, this it's like life size. It's not plastic. This is all metal. And then like the rivets that hold the metal in through the leather. Now it's probably fake leather, but it's metal. Like even the screws are metal. It's not like fake plastic or anything. So this thing's badass. I don't know. I need to stop talking about it because some people aren't into wrestling. And just like, why are you talking about wrestling? But
honestly, the closest I've ever got to wrestling, I worked this stagehand job in Cincinnati before I moved down to Asheville, and we worked like multiple like WWE events, and so like we were putting together like the sets in the ring, and dude, those guys though, like we were like backstage, if you want to call it that, like with them all the time, and like they are superhumans, dude. I mean, like these people are massive. Like it's insane. Not only like their muscles, but they're huge. Like it's pretty impressive what they do. Like,
and I liken it, I think after touring for bands and seeing that side of the industry, I relate to wrestlers because it's very similar. It's very similar, their schedule, in the sense of they're on the road for months at a time. They're doing 4, 5, 6 shows a week. They're getting very minimal sleep and then traveling to the next city. So it's and they have to pay for their own way. Like, I think the way it works is that they pay for them to get to the initial run, and then it's up to the wrestler to pay for like getting from city to city and pay for their hotel. So it's very similar. I mean, it's almost that rock star lifestyle that they're living, you know?
Oh, totally. And like probably still working out like every single day, you know, like
That's why I'm saying I think it's a respect thing. I think that's why I'm so into it now, again, because as I'm older, I can appreciate and respect the craft and what they have to go through, and not so much it's like, oh, I'm a big wrestling fan, you know? But I don't know. I've always, dude, the older I get, I'm like, I don't have much time to do it. I'm really thinking about going and seeing if I can like go and train at a wrestling school or something like that. I just want to I just want to go do one match. If I could just do one match, that'd be super dope. And then call it quits. I don't need to be on TV or anything. I just want to
what's your wrestling name?
See, I don't know. And what sucks is the reason I never became an actor or anything too is because I felt like the only roles they would have would be Asian roles or something like that. And I'm adopted. When people ask where I'm from, I know they're not trying to be rude. I've always felt out of place because I'm adopted, so I'm American, but Americans don't look at me like that. Like they always ask, where are you from? Thinking I lived in Korea, or because I'm Asian, I'm connected to my heritage.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, well, I'm from Maryland. And they get mad. They're like, no, like, where are you from? And I'm like, Maryland.
But really,
like, that's all I've known. So, like, I don't know what you want from me.
yeah.
Or I'll say, well, I'm American, and so it's really funny. And then to Asian people, because I'm so Americanized, I can't speak Korean or anything. Like, they kind of shun me as being like too American. So it is very weird. And I always felt kind of stuck, and especially with politics and stuff, I think people assume one way or another, like I feel one way or another, because I'm adopted, maybe I'm pro this or pro that. And I'm just like, I just want, just because, my parents did it the right way. So I don't think anyone should be here illegally, but I'm not for separating families or, doing anything crazy like that. I've always kind of been down the middle, you know? You go ahead.
I was just going to say, maybe then your wrestling name should be something completely left of center and be like the German Hammer.
Oh my God, that'd be hilarious.
And they'd be like, wait, but why? It doesn't matter because he's the German Hammer.
I didn't get that far into thinking. I guess I can't even really think about doing a match unless I came up with a cool name first.
You could be nameless. You could be the Unknown. That sounds like a cool wrestler name. The
biggest. Yeah. Well, the biggest thing is, if I ever did get into wrestling, I would go like, if I wrote to the WWE and was like, I want to be a wrestler. But I want to be I don't want to be a good guy. I only want to be a bad guy because I feel like it's the complete opposite of my actual personality. So to play the opposite of you and just like, I would want people to hate me.
Yeah.
Like, I want them to like watch me on TV and be like, I fucking hate that guy. Like if I don't get a couple death threats a week, like, I'm on social media, I'm not doing my job, as a bad guy.
Exactly.
So that's what, if I did get into wrestling, I've always wanted to just be a bad guy. A really, a horrible bad guy. Dude, I didn't realize too, with this WWE, they pay for that shit. I think one of my friends said that they had seen a contract, or either they or someone they knew had gotten like a song that they had used for either one of the like pay-per-views or something. They said they got paid like $250,000 or like around $200,000 for the rights to the song. Now they owned everything. Like, I'm sure WWE made money off that too, but that's crazy.
Yeah. You get your songs licensed and stuff like that, man. TV, film,
even jingles. Like even jingles, you don't even have to write a full song. I encourage all musicians out there, if you're like, in the rut or even with things going on right now and you can't tour, like think about jingles, or sometimes I'll sit here with my guitar and I'll watch commercials and put them on mute and then play over the commercial, like what I think it would sound like or should sound like over the commercial. And I think one of my friends has had a couple things picked up. Like he's a producer and he works with Ryan. I'm pretty sure he told me, or I've seen that he has a couple jingles on Netflix, or he's gotten things picked up, and that's good money right there. Licensing music and stuff like that, or being a creator.
Totally. I know some people who've been touring musicians for years and years and years, and they claim that they've made more money with licensing music and selling a few songs than they ever did, like in the 10 years of touring. But
are you you guys are based out in Cincinnati, Rockstead, but is that where you're at right now, or are you down in North Carolina?
I'm in Asheville, yeah.
Okay, so you are down there, yeah.
Yeah, the band was born out of Cincinnati. And then, I moved to Asheville probably 2 years ago, but I'm also up in Ohio a lot. I don't mind making the drive. Ohio wasn't doing it for me anymore.
No, I feel you, man. It's weird. I went through phases of wanting to get out for so long and move to California. And then when that didn't work out, I was like, okay, I'll go to Florida because it's East Coast, it's beach. And both times didn't work out. The person, whoever I was playing on it, bailed, or I just didn't have enough. Like it's harder than you think to move solo with 2 pit bulls. Like, even though they're sweet dogs and they're great dogs, they would never hurt anyone. It's like, it's really hard to find rent that's not overblown because of the dogs. Like, some of the rent I was looking at, like, Florida's super cheap, but then they would add $500 a month just to have those dogs there. I was like, what? Yeah. I was like, I get if they wanted a deposit of $500, but it's that much extra a month. So instead of paying like $1,200 or less sometimes, which is manageable, I was paying closer to like 18, and I'm like, that's what I pay up here, and I'm trying to get away from that, like, yeah. So
doggy racism.
Yeah, what the fuck, man?
It really is. I was just talking about this with somebody the other night, and they were saying it might have been Colorado, like, recently lifted their pit bull ban. And I was like, what? Like, you can have a ban on a type of dog in a state? Like,
in Maryland, they have apartment complexes where they literally have signs saying no pit bulls on premise. Like, you cannot have a dog. And I think my friend who I knew that lived at the place, I think her neighbor had a pit bull, and she could only bring her out at night. I'm like, where does she poop during the day? Like, she could only bring her out to poop at night and then bring her back in. I'm like, that's not a way to live. Yeah.
It's just messed up, man. Like, with any animal, doesn't matter what kind of animal or what breed, like, it's a nature versus nurture thing. It's like, if you treat a creature the right way, like, they're going to be fine.
Yeah. But, yeah, of course. Any creature.
Yeah, it's messed up. But yeah, that whole pit bull ban, I was like, I didn't even know that existed.
That exists still, right? Yeah. I hate so something that I guess along the social media lines too that we're talking about. I hate that everything in my timeline is never what I actually want to see. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, I like pit bulls. I have 2 pit bulls. I post about a lot, so it thinks I want to see pit bulls. But the only thing that pops up in my feed aren't like cute, cuddly photos of pit bulls. It's people breeding pit bulls and like injecting them with steroids, or like pit bull fighting, or sad pit bull stories, or all. It's like never what I actually want to see. It's always like the horrible aspects of it. Yeah, or if I like one photo, I suddenly get like, I don't know. It's just like I'm getting like, I don't know. For some reason recently, I'm getting all these weird ass things, and I have no idea why it's in my timeline. Because it has nothing to do with music. It has nothing to do with like sports, is what I'm really big into. Well, listen, dude, I don't want to keep you too much longer, but do you guys have any specific projects or things coming up that you want to kind of promote, or anything that you have on your mind even? Because I really want to be an outlet for people too. So if people want to say something that's been on their mind, or something they feel strongly about, or just update everyone on future plans so that they can be aware and check it out when it comes out.
Yeah, definitely future plans. We were recently in the studio again, working on a couple new tracks. We're actually revamping some of the older barn tunes, if you will. So
that's cool. Doing some remixes and whatnot.
Yeah, there'll be some new studio versions of those. I'm going up to Ohio in December to shoot a new music video, which should be really cool.
That's cool.
We're working with a buddy of mine. His name's Spencer Wolf, who does a lot of cool short films and things like that. We have a live stream coming up on December 11th. It's a Friday night.
Nice.
Right around 10 p.m. Pretty sure there's an event on Facebook with, I think it'll be it's a Twitch live stream. But it'll be cool, a little interview session. And the guys were telling us who host the live stream, it's kind of like their show. That like people watching can control like the smoke machine and the lights and stuff. So I'm sure that'll be fun for people. I can see that getting out of hand really quick. Like, no Rockstead, just a cloud of smoke. But yeah, we're working on getting some new music down in the studio. Got the live stream coming up, new music video coming out soon. That's pretty much Rockstead plans right now. You know, we're definitely trying to look into the next year in terms of booking shows and stuff, but it's all a little weird these days. Honestly, just anybody out there who's listening to our music and who's been following Rockstead, like, we're still here, you know? Like, I mean, a lot of people are kind of taking a backseat due to all this COVID stuff, but we're still out here working. You know,
we're here.
We are here, and we have more shit coming at you. But, you know, playing live shows was kind of like the forefront of what we did. You know,
yeah, of course.
It's how you keep going. It's how you make money. It's how you reach new people. It's you know.
It's definitely how I got sucked into you guys. I saw a video on YouTube. I'm like, yeah, that guy rips. And it's never been about, I guess, for me, Rockstead. It was more always about you and what you had to offer. You know what I mean? I think you're just a great guy, a really good dude.
Well,
and you do have great music, man. So if there's anything I can ever do to help you in general, you know, unofficially, I would love to just give me a call. I'm always happy to help.
Yeah, man. Hopefully we'll be out in the Maryland way soon. Our last tour before COVID hit was, at least with another band, was with Higher Education.
Yeah, I love Higher Education.
Yeah, no, good dudes. Looking to collab with them. And yeah, I think we might find ourselves out in the Maryland way.
Yeah, well, please stop in with the full band and we'll hang out, maybe do another pod or something. And if you guys... It'd be cool. Once everything clears up and I can get bands in more regularly, I would love to have them do like little live. We have the studio set, so I have a drum set and everything, so you don't even need really
that'd be awesome
or anything. So we'd love to do like a little live sesh. But dude, stay safe out there. And thank you so much for coming on. Kind of a last second thing too, to a degree. With
totally.
Nothing real planned and a slow news week. So I always appreciate you coming on. We'll have to have you all in here soon.
Hell yeah, man. Appreciate it.